I refused my wife's shocking demand to split my son's savings with her son, and it sparked a divorce that changed my life. I've got 2 sons living at home, my biological son, who's 17, and my stepson, who's 19. Both of these guys have part-time jobs in retail, and they started working around the same time, but my stepson got his job first because, well, he's older and he just landed one quicker. Here's the twist. When my biological son started bringing home paychecks, I made a decision to stash away 30% of his earnings. Sounds a bit strict, right? But it wasn't for nothing. I wasn't just hoarding his cash for no good reason. I was secretly building up a fund for him to use later on. Something big like a car. He knew I was taking some money, but he didn't know all the details, and I kept it under wraps because I wanted it to be a surprise. Now, my wife knows I do this, and she's been cool with it because we keep our money matters separate. She's had some tough times in the past with money and relationships, so I never pushed too hard on combining our finances. Fast forward to now, my son is about to hit 18 and has been daydreaming about buying his own car. He's been saving up from what's left of his paycheck after I take my cut, thinking he's got a certain amount to spend. So, the other day, we sat down to talk about how much he could actually afford. And that's when I dropped the news. He had way more cash than he thought because of the stash I'd been saving on the side. Man, you should have seen his face. He was so pumped that he actually picked me up in a huge bear hug that nearly broke my back. But here's where everything starts to go off the rails. My stepson hears about this whole car fund thing and feels like he's getting the short end of the stick. He thinks I'm playing favorites with my bio son. Then, out of nowhere, my wife hits me with this idea. She thinks I should split my son's car fund between him and her son to make things fair. Basically, she wants me to take the money I've saved for my son and help buy a car for my stepson too. I was floored. I told her that was out of the question, and reminded her she had the same chance to do something similar for her son, but it doesn't stop. There my wife starts arguing that because my son's college tuition is being covered by his grandparents, it makes the car fund situation even more unfair. She's basically saying that since his education costs are sorted, I should help level the playing field by dipping into the car fund to support her son. Meanwhile, my son is standing firm, saying, no way is anyone touching the money from his checks, especially since the extra cash I threw in was my decision, and not something their mom contributed to. Now her family and some of our friends are chiming in, and what started as a couple of jokes is now seriously getting under my skin. I'm trying to keep my cool and figure this whole mess out, but honestly, I'm starting to lose it. I need to put an end to this whole debate and make sure I'm not going crazy here. Am I the one being unreasonable, or is this as wild as I think it is? Am I the a-hole? Edit 1 guys, it's in the post. I did tell my wife why I was taking the money and what I was planning to do with it. It was never a secret. Edit 2, her request. My son knew why I was taking his money but did not know I was matching his deposit. This wasn't done for any reason beyond age. When I was earning money in high school, I spent it as quickly as I got it. I didn't think anyone knew better than me. I just wanted to teach him the value of saving. Now for the top comments before the update. Kenton at the a-hole. If you split that money, it will forever change the relationship you have with your bio son. Your wife decided to keep finances separate, and that should not change because she doesn't know how to save. The fact that your son has help with college is completely irrelevant. The fact that OP told his wife what he was doing and suggested she do the same for her stepson absolutely absolves him of any wrongdoing regarding the favoritism. I don't necessarily like that he took the money without saying it was for savings or whatnot, but as his son doesn't think he's an a-hole for it, then I can't really think that either. Not the a-hole. I am sick and tired of entitled people thinking they're owed something they never worked for. It sounds like your son saved money as well. Did your stepson save money? You took 30% of your son's income, and he never objected, or at least did not know why you wanted it. Your wife and stepson had the opportunity to do the same. She keeps her finances separate because of prior abuse by a third party. If she knew you were taking the money, why didn't she ever ask? His grandparents paid for his college education. This has nothing to do with you or the other parties, so now they're trying to manipulate you and make you feel guilty for being a good parent. Screw them. OP says the stepson wasn't super wasteful or anything, but he never saved much. He would save for a while, but that was to buy something he wanted, like if he wanted a jersey or an Apple product. He would save for it, and spend it. He knows how to save, but I don't think he understands rainy days. She knew why I was doing it, she just thought that I should let him keep it all so he could enjoy his youth more. I understand that, but a young person can wait an extra paycheck for most things. A reliable car or the ability to travel the country or world while young is something else. Comment, okay, so she knew about it and wanted him not to save and spend the money. But where did she get off saying her son was short-changed? It never occurred to her, and by example, to her stepson, that saving might be a good idea? OP says, "This is where I'm lost. I don't understand how they're making this leap of logic. She was in a very bad relationship years before we met, and she's very serious with her finances, so it confuses me too." Update 1. Man, things have really gone south lately, and it looks like my marriage is pretty much over. Here's what's been going down. My wife packed up and went to stay with her sister. She's super upset because her son, my stepson, saw a post that kind of blew up, and he had a big reaction to it. Things escalated quickly, and now she's staying away. The stuff she said to me during that blow-up, well, I just don't see how we can get past it. It's like some lines you just can't uncross, you know? She's got a bit of a financial cushion because of the mortgage payments I've been making. I've basically been the one footing the bills. So now that we're heading towards a divorce, I figure I'll be looking to claim half of that investment back. It seems only fair, right? My cousin, who's a lawyer, gave me the heads up a few years back that I should be entitled to half the house if it ever came to this. So I guess it's time to start getting my ducks in a row legally. Now on the flip side of things, there's my son. A while back I set aside some money for him. It was supposed to be a kind of nest egg or something for him to fall back on. I never really told him about it because I wanted it to be a surprise, something he could lean on when he really needed it. Well, he's decided to use some of that money to buy himself a nice car and save the rest for his college years. He wants to be able to focus on his studies without worrying about money, which I think is pretty smart. When I told him about the money, I was a bit nervous. I mean, I made these decisions without giving him a choice, just assuming what would be best for him. But he just laughed it off and joked that if I hadn't put it away for him, he'd probably have blown it all on a MacBook and gained about 20 more pounds from sitting around using it too much. I told him I'm really proud of him, proud of how he's handling the money and thinking about his future. It was a good moment, a little bright spot in all this mess. It's tough seeing my marriage crumble and all, but seeing my son mature and make these smart choices gives me a bit of hope. It's like, even though some parts of your life are falling apart, other parts are just starting to bloom. So I guess now it's just about moving forward, dealing with the divorce, and making sure I'm there for my son in whatever way he needs. Update 2. So, things have taken a turn for the absolute worst. You know when you spill soda, and it just keeps spreading until everything's sticky? That's my life right now. After my wife left to stay with her sister because of all our arguing, she dropped a huge demand on me that really blew my mind. Here's the deal. She called me up, really upset, and said if I want her to even think about coming back, I'd have to buy her son a car exactly like the one I got for my biological son. Yeah, you read that right. She thinks that's the way to fix everything. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and man, did it make me mad. Here's how that conversation went down. Me, you're kidding, right? This is what you're throwing at me after everything else? Her, it's about being fair. You always treat your son better than mine, and I want you to fix that. Me, hold up. It's not about who gets what. I'm not going to treat a 19-year-old like he's a toddler who needs the same toy his brother has just to stop him from crying. Her, it's not about toys. It's about feeling like he belongs. You're supposed to make him feel welcome, not like he's just a guest. Me, welcome? I've done everything I can for both of them, but what you're asking isn't fair. It's not about evening things out. It's about you using this as a way to manipulate me. Her, if you can't see why I'm asking this, maybe we need this time apart. Then she just hung up, just like that. Since then, things have been really quiet, but not the good kind of quiet. More like the calm before a storm. Here's the thing, I get where she's coming from, wanting both boys to feel equal. But this isn't the way to do it. It feels like she's just trying to push my buttons or get something out of me by using her son as leverage, which isn't cool. Now my son, the one who lives with me, knows something's up. He's seen the angry texts pop up on my phone, and he's overheard parts of phone calls. I try to keep him out of it because he's already got enough on his plate with school and stuff, but he's smart. He knows his stepmom is asking for something big, And it's putting him in a weird spot because he doesn't want to see us split up, but he also doesn't want to lose his car. It's a messy situation. I'm trying to figure out how to handle it without making everything worse. Do I stand my ground and risk having my wife walk away for good? Or do I give in and buy the car, knowing it might just lead to more demands down the line? It's like, no matter what I choose, someone's going to get hurt. So, I'm stuck trying to make a decision. On one hand, I've got my marriage that might be falling apart. And on the other, I've got my kids who are caught in the middle of this adult drama. It's a lot to deal with, and I'm just trying to do what's best for everyone, but man, it's hard. That's where things stand right now. No easy answers. Just a lot of tough choices. I'm hoping I can find a way to sort this out without anyone else getting hurt, but right now, it feels like I'm just trying to keep the soda from spilling any further, you know? Update 3. After all the drama about cars and what's fair, my wife has come up with a new demand. And it's a doozy. Seriously, this one's straight out of a movie where people make crazy demands just to stir up trouble. So, here's what went down yesterday. I get a call from my wife. She's been staying at her sister's place, and I swear they must sit around brainstorming ways to make my life more complicated. She's got this firm tone in her voice, like she's about to lay down the law, and she hits me with this bombshell. She says, if I can't afford to buy her son a car like my son's, then I should at least ask my parents to pay for his college tuition. I kid you not, that's what she said. I had to ask her to repeat it because I couldn't believe my ears. Hold on, you want me to ask my parents to pay for your son's college? How do you figure that's even remotely fair? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Your son is probably going to get help from them anyway. We need to keep things balanced. It's only fair. Look, them helping out my son, their grandson, is one thing. But asking them to pay for your son, who they hardly know, that's a whole different ballgame. What's the big deal? It's just money, and they have it. It would show that you care about my son as much as yours. It's not just money, it's a lot of money, and it's not about caring. This is about what's reasonable. You're asking for too much here. I'm only asking for you to make an effort. My son feels left out, and this could really help. This is not the way to handle it. You're asking me to put my parents in a really awkward position. Maybe if you explained it to them they'd understand. It's all about family, right? That's not their responsibility. You can't just declare that someone else should pay for your child's education. Well, I think it's worth asking. If you don't, it just shows where your priorities are. I was so frustrated that I just ended the call. How do you even respond to that? It's like she's living in another world where she can just make these wild demands and expect everyone to jump. After hanging up, I sat there just trying to process it all. It feels like she's turned into someone I don't even recognize anymore. Like imagine your friend turning into a cartoon villain who's always plotting some crazy scheme. That's what it feels like. I spent the rest of the evening thinking about how to deal with this without causing a huge blow-up. I talked to a couple of friends about it, and they were just as shocked as I was. They agreed that it's an unreasonable ask and that I was right to stand my ground. They also suggested that maybe it's time to think about where this relationship is headed if things are getting this out of hand. Meanwhile, my son has been keeping to himself mostly. He's caught bits and pieces of these conversations, and it's tough on him. He feels stuck in the middle, which is the last thing I want. He's trying to focus on school and his future, but all this drama keeps spilling over, and it's a lot for him to handle. So, that's where I'm at, stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to keep the peace, but also stand up for what's right. It's a mess, and I'm just doing my best to navigate through it all without making things worse. No easy solutions, just a lot of tough decisions, and hoping for the best. Update 4. Well guys, here's the latest, and man, it's a big one. I've officially hit my limit with all the craziness. And after a lot of tough thinking and some really deep conversations with my closest friends and even a counselor, I've decided to file for divorce. Yep. It's actually happening. I never thought I'd be the guy to say this, but enough is enough. Let me back up a bit and tell you how this decision came about because it wasn't overnight. After my wife demanded that my parents pay for her son's college tuition, like it was the most normal thing to ask, it made me stop and really look at what our marriage had become. It felt like I was in a constant state of negotiating with her, always trying to dodge the next outrageous request. So, I started by talking to a lawyer, just to understand my options. I needed to know what divorce would involve. especially with kids in the picture, even though one is technically my stepson. The lawyer laid it all out, the steps, the costs, and what rights I have, which made things a bit clearer for me. After a lot of soul-searching, I got the papers drawn up. Sending them to her wasn't easy. I felt this huge mix of emotions, relief, guilt, sadness, you name it. When she got the papers, well, let's just say she didn't take it quietly. She called me up, and the conversation was intense. Her, what is this? Are you seriously doing this? Me, yeah, I am. I've thought it through, and it's what needs to happen. We can't keep going like this. Her, so you're just going to throw away everything we've built just like that? Me, it's not just like that. This has been building up for a long time. It's not healthy for us, or for the kids to keep going in circles like this. She started yelling then, really letting me have it. She accused me of being a terrible stepfather, of not caring about her or her son, and a lot more. It got really personal and really hurtful, but I knew I had to stay calm. Her, you're going to regret this. You can't just decide this on your own. Me, I think I can. I think it's the best for both of us, and deep down, you know all this fighting isn't good for anyone. Her, you're so selfish. You only ever think about yourself and your son. That's when I realized no matter what I said, it wasn't going to change her mind or how she saw the situation. So, I ended the call. I just hung up because nothing good was going to come from more yelling. The house has been super quiet since then, kind of like the quiet you get after a big storm passes. It's weird but also a bit peaceful, knowing that a decision has been made, even if it's a hard one. My son, bless him, has been an absolute champ through all this. He's been worried, sure, especially about what it means for us moving forward. We've had some really long talks, just sitting on the couch, talking about everything. I told him that no matter what happens, I'm here for him, and we'll get through this together. He's been really mature about it all, and I'm super proud of how he's handling things. It's not easy, but we're trying to focus on the future, on something better than the constant stress we've been living under. So, now it's about taking each day as it comes. There's a lot to sort out with the divorce, legal stuff, figuring out living arrangements, all that. But for the first time in a long while, I feel like I'm taking control back, making a decision that's truly mine. It's scary, but also freeing in a way I didn't expect. And that's the update: big changes, tough times, but hopefully a light at the end of this tunnel. Thanks for sticking with me through this roller coaster. Here's to better days ahead, however they come. Update 5. My soon-to-be ex-wife decided to make a surprise appearance at my house yesterday, and let me tell you, it was like something out of a movie. I was just finishing up some chores around the house, trying to keep things tidy and my mind off the whole divorce mess, when I heard a knock at the door. Thinking it might be a package I was expecting, I didn't think much of it. But when I opened the door, there she was, my wife. Standing there as if the past few months of arguments and demands hadn't happened. She had this determined look on her face, like she was about to sell me on the idea of getting back together. Without waiting for an invitation, she started talking right away. Her, this is ridiculous, We're being silly, letting things go this far. We can sort all of this out. Me, I'm not sure there's anything left to sort out. We've been over this, the divorce is moving forward. She seemed taken aback by my response, like she expected me to just agree and drop everything. But I've been through too much to just flip-flop now. Her, we can't just throw away what we had over one disagreement. We can fix this. Me, it wasn't one disagreement though. It's been months of issues, and it's worn me down. I've already made my decision. She tried to push further, suggesting we could go back to how things were, pretend like the bad stuff never happened. But let's be honest, you can't just pretend like things didn't happen. Her, let's just go back. I'll make it better, I promise. We can forget all the nasty stuff and start fresh. Me, going back isn't an option. Things were not okay, and we both know it. Her frustration was building, I could tell. Her voice got louder, her gestures more animated. She was in full persuasion mode, but it all just reminded me of why I was so drained in the first place. Her, you're being so stubborn. Think about us, about what you're throwing away. Me, I have thought about it a lot. I'm thinking about a healthier future for me and our son. That's what matters now. That set her off. She started throwing around accusations, calling me selfish, saying I was ruining her life, and that I'd regret this, the whole 9 yards. Her anger was palpable. and it echoed down the street as she raised her voice. You'll see how big a mistake you're making. You'll miss me, and I won't be there." Her words were harsh, and it hurt, not going to lie. It's tough seeing someone you cared about in that state, so angry and upset, but it also solidified my belief that I was making the right decision for my sanity and our son's well-being. After what felt like an eternity of back and forth, she finally stormed off. The door slam that followed was like the period at the end of a very long, very stressful sentence. It shook the frame, and probably startled the neighbors. Once the door closed behind her, I just stood there for a minute, trying to process the whirlwind that had just hit. It was a lot to take in. Eventually I went back to my chores, but my mind was racing the whole time. The house felt quieter after she left, almost too quiet, like when the power goes out and you suddenly realize how noisy electricity is. It gave me a lot of time to think about everything, about how moving forward means making tough choices, even if they lead to tough conversations like the one I just had. So, that's the latest chapter in this saga. It's been one heck of a ride, and while I wish it were smoother, I'm just focusing on the road ahead. It looks like it's going to be a solo journey for a while, but maybe that's for the best. Thanks for sticking around for the update. Here's hoping for some peace and quiet in the next one. Update 6. Hey everyone, I got some big news to share in this latest update. My divorce is officially final. It's been a long and winding road, filled with ups and downs, but we finally closed that chapter. Let me tell you, it feels like I'm starting a whole new phase of my life, and I'm here to share all the details with you. The whole process of finalizing the divorce was pretty intense. There were countless meetings with lawyers, lots of paperwork, and a ton of back and forth discussions to sort everything out fairly. We had to decide on how to split everything we owned together, which wasn't easy. But in the end, she got her half, and I got mine. It was all very structured, and by the book, which was honestly a relief, given how heated things had gotten between us. On the day everything was signed off, it felt surreal. I walked into the lawyer's office, feeling a mix of nerves and relief. It was like heading into the last exam of the school year, knowing that summer was on the other side. We sat down, signed document after document, and with each signature, I felt a little piece of the stress float away. Walking out of there, I was officially no longer married. It was a weird mix of sadness for what was ending and excitement for what was to come. There was definitely a sense of closure, knowing that all the arguments and disagreements were behind me. Coming back home after everything was finalized was strange. The house was quieter, just me now. It gave me a lot of time to think about the whole journey. All the crazy demands, the tense arguments. It was a lot. I felt relieved that it was all over. It was like finishing a really tough video game level and seeing the level complete screen. With the divorce in the rearview mirror, I started to rediscover things about myself that I had put on hold. I got back into reading, picked up some new books that had been sitting on my shelf gathering dust. I started watching some series I'd missed out on. It was nice to just sit back and enjoy things without any drama hovering over me. I've also been reconnecting with friends. Had a few guys over for a game night last week, and it was a blast. It's amazing how much you miss just hanging out and laughing with friends when life gets too serious. Most importantly, I've been spending a lot of quality time with my son. We've been talking more, not just about the big stuff but also the little, everyday things. It's been great to reconnect and build our relationship stronger during this new phase of our lives. He's been really resilient through everything, and seeing him adapt and stay positive has been a huge comfort to me. Looking ahead, I'm thinking about what's next for me. Maybe some new hobbies or even planning a little trip somewhere to clear my head and get a fresh perspective. I'm not rushing into anything, just taking it one day at a time and seeing where life takes me. And you know what? I feel genuinely happy. It's like I've stepped out from under a cloud, and everything's a bit brighter. Sure, I know life isn't going to be perfect from here on out, but I feel ready to handle whatever comes my way with a clearer head and a lighter heart. Thanks so much to all of you for following along with my updates, for your advice, and just for being there. It's made a huge difference knowing I've got a bunch of folks rooting for me. Here's to new beginnings and whatever adventures lie ahead. I'll keep you all posted, and hopefully, the next update will be filled with some fun, new stories. Cheers to moving forward, everyone. Last update. Hey, everyone. I know it's been a while since I last dropped an update here, and I've seen a bunch of you asking how things have been going. Well, strap in because I've actually got some really good news to share this time around, and it's a welcome change from the usual drama. Since the divorce wrapped up and all that stormy weather passed, life has been surprisingly peaceful. I've been putting a lot of energy into just enjoying the quiet moments, hanging out with my son, and catching up on all the little pleasures I missed out on during the rough patches. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff together, hiking, watching movies, and even started a little weekend project building a model train set. It's been great seeing him so upbeat and involved. But here's the best part. I've met someone new. Her name's Emily, and she's absolutely wonderful. How we met is actually a funny story. A friend of mine who's also a bit of a matchmaker had been telling me about Emily for weeks, saying things like, "You've got to meet her, you two would really hit it off." I was a bit hesitant at first because, just coming out of a divorce and all, but I finally agreed to a casual meet-up over coffee. We met at this cozy little cafe downtown that she picked out. It's one of those places with a lot of quirky decorations and a chill vibe. We ended up talking for hours. I mean, it was one of those conversations that just flows, We talked about everything, from our favorite books, turns out we're both huge fans of mystery novels, to our adventures traveling to different countries, to our love for cheesy 80s movies. She has this great sense of humor and an infectious laugh that just makes you want to keep chatting. Now, the really special part about Emily is how she is around my son. From the get-go, she's been incredibly kind and genuinely interested in getting to know him. She's got this gentle, easygoing way about her that he really took to. The first time they met, we all went out for a simple lunch and then to the park. It wasn't anything fancy, just some sandwiches and a frisbee. But watching them interact was something else. They clicked almost instantly, laughing and joking around. It's not every day you see that kind of connection right off the bat. Since then, we've all spent more time together, and it's been really heartwarming to see their bond grow. Emily doesn't push herself into the mom role or anything like that. She's just herself, warm and friendly, and my son appreciates that. It's a big deal for me, seeing how they get along, because my son's happiness is my top priority. Emily and I have been taking things slow, just enjoying each other's company and letting things develop naturally. It's a nice, easy pace, and it feels right after everything that's been so hectic in the past. We've had a few more of those long coffee dates, explored some local museums together, and even had a couple of movie nights with my son. Honestly, I feel really happy and relieved. It's like a fresh start. It's still pretty early in our relationship, but I'm optimistic about where this is all going. She brings a lot of joy and laughter into our lives, and it's just nice to have that again. Thanks so much to everyone here for sticking with me through the ups and downs and for all your supportive messages and comments. It's been a wild ride, but knowing I had you all cheering me on made a big difference. Here's to new beginnings and hopeful journeys ahead. I'll keep you all posted on how things are going, and who knows, maybe the next update will be even more exciting. Cheers to brighter days, everyone.